running a chapter is like, if a volunteer, if he can identify a team to work with him, and like 4 or 5 volunteers, like we call them coordinators, and these 5 coordinators can start a chapter. And there is a manual. Our national team developed a manual, and that manual gives like step-by-step instructions how to organize contests, how to do fundraising, and how to do each and every activity. It is all listed in that manual. If somebody is interested in starting a chapter, they can contact the national team, and national team will guide that person almost step by step. They do half of the, not half, majority of their work, and help the person who wants to start the chapter.
One thing I liked was that the NSF organized workshops for kids before the actual event, a month or 2 months before. So at least they got an idea how to approach, how to do preparation for a spelling bee or a vocabulary bee. What are the different elements involved which need to be, which the kid and the parents both need to pay attention to. And they provided a spelling bee game and vocabulary bee game, which helped tremendously, I think, in the preparation, because that kind of simulates the actual, not the real event, but pretty close, that he gets randomly selected words to be pronounced or to be, find the meaning for.
What I feel is a lot of time the local is grown at a like as a word of mouth, as people experience this event and they go to the regionals, they see that there is an opportunity for every child to learn, and it helps the kids. It definitely helps the kids, and word of mouth is what grows. So a lot of times the volunteers at the regional level feel that they are part of a family, and the NSF, the whole foundation is like a family, and that is definitely something that you experience through the regional contests. That family feeling where word of mouth, and the same kids come back every year to participate. Once somebody is there, they get kind of hooked into it and they keep coming back. Kind of the preparation for the regionals is more community based. There are group study sessions, but it depends on the region and the local chapter how much involvement there is to do workshops and more group study oriented events. But mostly it's kids preparing by themselves and making friends and working as a group that they go to the regionals. And the competition itself at the regionals is handled by regional volunteers who pretty much manage it based on their local area's requirements on when they are going to host it, who are going to be the judges, and how they are going to conduct it. But from the rules standpoint, all of those rules are always the standard national rules, so that it is a fair chance for every child who participates to have a chance to do well. One of the things is, as we go through these, like over the years, as we have gone through these contests, we have noticed a need for certain kind of assistance that the organization needs, because it is growing so fast, and there are extremely dedicated individuals who have been doing it for a long time, and we feel that we can support them in their efforts, because the eventual process, in the whole process, everyone benefits. It's the community, it's the kids, it's the parents, and eventually with all the support that the foundation does for the education in India, the community in India also benefits. Students who are academically brilliant, they benefit. So everyone's goals, everyone is working towards the same goal of education, and whether it's in the community, Indian community here, or whether it's in the community in India, eventually that is the goal of the process.
And I tell the parents that there is an opportunity for parents to get involved and so make an impact on the education system.
500?
Do you want to check the answer?
Yeah. Check if it's right. Increasing.
Yeah, growth in size.
Yeah, growth in size.
Acerbic.
Acerbic. Cutting?
Yeah, week. So 30 minutes for 1 week.
Yes, so times 7
7.
is equal to 150 times 7?
Okay. Times 150.
Well, when you're practicing, you're just trying to concentrate on what you're studying at the moment, because you don't want to ever get caught up in the moment and think, oh, what if I won this? You just want to be worrying about how much you know, and don't worry about what others know, because in the end, it's going to come down to what you know.
I was lucky. My parents were devoted to our family, so you pick up those values to begin with, and once you have a value system, I think your own family then buys into that system. And I was lucky that I have a wife who's a tremendous worker, who I would like to invite next to me now, and the fact is that it's extremely important to believe in what your kids are doing, to support them in what they're doing. And the great thing, which I guess even as mature parents we may not understand, is that they understand that. They may not be able to articulate it, may not be able to say it, but they understand, they appreciate, and they know that these values and the family system is what is helping them most likely win over things which they couldn't on their own. And it's always a team process and teamwork. So I guess a family is a team, and I'm just happy that we have a great team.
Well, so we kind of just like go through the list, and then my parents ask me like all the words and like the meaning, and they tell me the meaning, and like they basically do the same thing that we do at the spelling bee and the math bee.
Tell me, what is a visa?
A visa. What are the choices?
Choices: license, small island, sunshade, or passport endorsement.
Can I see?
Which one would you think it means? What's a visa? Have you ever used a visa?
Visa cards?
Visa cards, yeah, that is
Yeah,
one.
visa.
But then, when do you need a visa?
Visa.
When you travel, you need a visa.
Yeah, when you go on a plane,
When
you
you-
need a visa.
Okay, so what is it? Is it a license? Is it an island, a sunshade, or a passport endorsement?
Sunshade.
It's a sunshade or a
Yeah.
passport
Passport
endorsement?
endorsement.
Ah, what is an endorsement?
I don't know.
Okay. What does stagnant mean? It just stays still. It doesn't move. Inactive. Okay. All right. Look at this one. What's a scanner? Ever heard of a scanner? Adds color.
Add color.
Searches a document, translates files, or machine that reproduces images. Which one is it?
A, D.
You got to read the answer.
It's D.
D. What it says?
It's a machine that reproduces images.
You know what are images?
The word is scan. You answers, hey, I'm right.
Okay, you are right.
Because it's the longest word.
Okay. Okay, that's it now. One of the things we ask them to do, both of them, they love to read. And one of the things that has helped them with vocabulary is read as wide variety of articles in magazines and newspapers as possible. So even at a young age, if they get exposed to that, eventually it adds up to their vocabulary. And I think that's what has helped them with the vocabulary. For the spelling, the first year was the best, like in terms of the amount of effort they put in to understand the words and get the techniques to memorize the words and to go to the roots of the words. That carried for the rest of the years. It kind of builds on that experience. And one of the things with spelling is we try to discuss the roots of the words and try to break the word out into different parts so that they can understand, so that he can actually go over and remember what he did before. He has an extremely good memory, but for spelling, he needs to know the meaning. So what we do is at each word level, we try to write it down on cards, index cards, and try to understand the meaning of that word, try to break it out into different pieces and visualize the word, which helps him to recollect later on. And once they get into the habit of doing this, it's much easier with the list or outside the list. It doesn't matter what words they are working with, as long as they can visualize and break it into different parts. He participates in the math bee. For math, we pretty much just let him do most analytical problems, and problem solving, and that kind of we walk him through each of those different methods to there's different methods to solve the problems, and we walk him through those. And at school, they have in their gifted programs, in their honors programs, they have specific methods to improve their skills, and we kind of build on them so that even for the contest it works out for that, in terms of that. But memorization, typically in math, we don't, although for techniques in terms of timing, to get various methods, that works.
Early on, when we encouraged Anirudh to participate in the spelling bee, we used to sit with him when he was smaller and work with him and encouraged him to study the spellings. But as he started growing older and started participating in vocabulary bee as well as math bee, we found that he had a natural inclination for numbers, and especially for the math bee this year, I think Anirudh has taken the initiative to study by himself. We as parents would be able to provide him with resources and encourage him to do, but ultimately we found that he was motivated by himself and he has been working hard by himself most of the time.
We don't expect him to win the competition, or we set the expectations, but we don't put a lot of pressure on him in terms of winning the competition. I think the message that we reinforce is to do his personal best.
First year I went, I remember there were kids, I think they were in 8th grade, who were in the finals with me, and I thought I was the coolest thing in the world, you know, sitting next to these old kids spelling words. So it was a pretty big deal, and I just liked, you know, being able to compete with kids who were a different age of me, because at school usually, you know, you might be the best speller in your class, but then you meet some 6th grader, and he just makes you feel like not a very good speller, right?
That we had to push our kid to, you know, sit every other day or every day, at least spend half an hour on this. So that was really challenging sometimes, you know, because they already are busy with their school stuff, although they don't have a lot, you know, as I remember from India when we had a lot of homework to do, but here is not that. So they are able to take out time. It's just that we need to encourage them. Whenever we try to push our kid, it didn't really work. So we try to encourage him by showing him the rewards and, you know, what he'll get, the knowledge he'll gain, and then of course we'll, you know, throw in some extras for him if he did good preparations. But this is one of the things which will help, you know, help them in their social life, in their workplace life. Words are really important.
The learning process is completely different. When you go into classroom, your mind is set to do one particular chapter, particular subject, whereas in the competition you have to have a global view. You should be able to put together everything. So this experience makes the student more confident of doing real life problems, and he can succeed in real life. So this develops the, what do you call, connectivity. So for example, a problem may be looking like arithmetic problem, but he can relate to either geometry or algebra. So we combine, we make students think in different angles, different way of solving. So it gives you better perspective for children to learn these techniques in mathematics, and they can apply in real life, in real situations. So it develops the problem solving skills, and it's not like routine questions they do answer in a classroom, and they are given certain formulas and just substitute the values or just to go through that. Whereas here they need to have the concepts, and they need to understand the problem, and they have to think of what mathematical tools they can use to answer that particular question. So it brings in several lot of knowledge into that problem. So we intertwine the questions so much. So it's not just simple math knowledge only. It develops the problem solving skills. So we try to twist the problem so that the student has complete understanding of those concepts.
I can say that every dollar the parents spend to bring their child to NSF is really worth it, and we are already started seeing the results. I saw the last Scripps Howard competition, and one of the NSF kid was in the high ranks there. So it's like a win-win situation. You promote the education here, and you promote the same education back there in India, and so that's really a good point. And I was personally inspired by the NSF. I know one of the beneficiary like me, Mr. Surya. He started working for the education in his own way. He started his own charitable trust, and even I have the plans of doing sometime later when I get settled and after I fulfill all my responsibilities. I'm thinking of contributing to contributing in one way or other to NSF. After I go back from here, I will be joining hopefully the NSF Chennai chapter, the place where I'm working on for Tata Consultancy Services, and I have plans to stay there for some time with NSF Chennai chapter. And I wish this NSF to grow exponentially, not only here at the US but also in India, and I think they have plans to do it, and I would certainly love to be part of that.
Yeah, I think NSF has been a really positive influence in my life, in the sense that the competitions kind of encouraged and motivated me and many of my peers at a very young age to start studying vocab and spelling, and increase our grammatical skills that really came in handy when it came time to standardize exams in high school and in college, with things like writing papers, admission essays, and things like that. Some of those early skills that we developed, I think, were invaluable for me personally in college and beyond in professional school, and I'm really grateful that I was able to develop those skills. It's really funny because I did go pretty much straight from contestant to volunteer, and I think I took a 1-year break in between. But why I came back was I kind of looked back and realized that the foundation was really instrumental in helping me accomplish some of the academic achievements that I was able to do. And I felt that one of the ways that I could show my gratitude was to help the foundation and some of the younger generation. And so I began to help out in whatever capacity I could by volunteering at some of the contests and serving as a judge and word pronouncer, and I'm very thankful and very happy to have done that for the past 8 or so years now. Yeah, how has NSF changed? I think one of the nicest changes that NFS has done in terms of the competition is it's expanded from just spelling and vocab to incorporating things like math and geography, and I know now they started even a brain bee. Meaning that I really think it's a great idea that they've increased the diversity of some of the subjects that they're encouraging kids to increase their knowledge in. It's kind of gratifying for me to be able to attempt to repay the foundation for what they've done for me. I don't think I'll really be able to ever repay them, but I think I'll be able to at least do something by giving back for all that I've taken.
The best thing about NSF is that everyone can compete in something, and it's the competition. It's just fun. You're not trying to compete to win. You're trying to compete to learn, become a better person. Because many of the lessons you learn in competing in these contests, they'll last you a lifetime.
It brings children the competitive strength. This is a competitive world. You have to consistently compete. Either it will be education or it be sports, business. I mean, whatever you do to be the best. And here we are teaching the kids to be the best you can be, or to be all you can be. That's what we are teaching these kids, and we are bringing their potential out. And what more can you contribute to build a better society? You know.
I think like now she's grown to like the challenge. She's like really interested in going out there and seeing kids like her who like being challenged and want to go out and see what she can do, being the best or give the best, and see how she can fare against the other kids that do the same like she does. So I think this is a good chance for her to go out and see the kind of kids that are out there, because she normally doesn't get exposed to a lot of challenge around her, typically in her school environment. So I think this is a good chance for her.
Every time you have to go the extra mile with them to make them work for it. But if they see that at the end of the process there is something that they achieve and they get known for, that's a good motivator for them. My older son, he started the competitions when he was 5, and for the regional center at Hinsdale, he was the youngest participant. But because what it did for him was build a lot of confidence in him to go up on stage, speak out a word, and the spelling bee was just great for him. And luckily what happened was, because he was the youngest participant, he was called upon to pass out the medals for all the winners at the end of the ceremony, and the participant medals and the certificates. So that was something that made his day, and I should say that kind of motivated him to also continue for the rest of the time when he had to spend hours doing the spelling and the vocabulary and the math and the other events that he participated in. And the younger one, he also started, this was his first year, 2006, and he's also 5, and he participated he signed up for it about 2 weeks before the contest, and he did extremely well in the contest, that he didn't have one single doubt about what he was going to do. He knew exactly which contests he wanted to enter in and what he was going to do, and that I see is something that is going to keep for him in the rest of his years in school and through college, hopefully.
I mean, apart from learning a few extra words, which in and of itself is a good thing, but a broader range of help, I think, comes from the fact that her concentration is better now, and she's able to handle pressure a little bit better than before.
I love to see these kids grow up, go further. They're going to be exposed to public speaking at such a young age, and as they grow older, they build their public speaking skills, and then go on to become leaders. I think public speaking is the #1 skill anybody should be acquiring, and I'm excited to be part of this thing.
One change that we have seen as Anirudh has participated in NSF competition is that his love for language has increased. Again, just to be on a personal note, Ani came to this country without knowing the English language, but he has also grown as he has participated in these competitions. We thought will give an opportunity to increase his vocabulary, increase his love for the language, and the spelling bee was a good foundation for him to learn a lot more about the spellings, even words that we did not know. We used to go and refer to the dictionary, and he mastered the spellings, and that gave him a lot more confidence in his writing, in his speech.
I'm going to show you some practice questions that I used from math counts. This is the state competition countdown round. I just do some problems, and I can.
Can you read one of the problems up?
Okay. A computer program reduces the length of each side of an 8x8 inch square photograph by 25%. What is the area in square inches of the reduced photo? I would recommend doing this program because it'll help you further your skills and advance. You'll learn more than what they'll teach you in school, and it'll help you when in high school and college, because you'll learn all the basic foundations and help you to achieve more.
Yes, I mean, I've seen the difference in my kid that now his scope of words has increased so much after these couple of years of participation. It's really helping him. It improved his grades. He was in like average grades, and now he's in all A's in all subjects. So I think this helped him to achieve this.
One other thing, who has kids in other contests? And I think you're the only one. So just, we'll not discuss any material that's related to other contests. He's a chief judge for junior spelling bee, but he has a kid in senior spelling bee. So just as a FYI, words or material from senior spelling bee, please don't discuss, so that we don't have any conflict here.
When your kids are participating in a number of contests, and I have 2 kids, so you're running around just making sure that they're going to the right contest room, you're taking care of their needs, you are making sure that they had their lunch before the contest. So the end result is that it's a tough job of being both a contestant's parent and also being a volunteer. But, and therefore, I take my hats off to the parents who do such a phenomenal job of making sure that they help others, even though they would love to be around their kids in a contest.
This year again she qualified. We are excited actually, more than, and we have told her time and again the important thing is that she goes there and gives her best. It doesn't matter whether she goes to the top or not. But we have always tried to tell her that just being there and giving her best is the most important thing, and I'm really excited actually. I get stressed during the oral rounds in spelling bee more than anything else. Other times I know that she's out there, she's doing her thing, and she's doing well. But when for the first time I was watching her do this spelling bee oral rounds, I was nervous as heck. I didn't know who was more nervous, it was I or her. And second time around it got a little bit better, but I think again the last final round on spelling bee is going to be the most nervous experience I'd ever have. But not because I feel that she will make a mistake or not, or that's just who I am, and she is concentration personified. She just goes and enjoys herself, I think. But I'll be a little bit nervous, I guess.
Because I prepare her, all throughout the year, it's definitely stressful for me because to me it's like, I hear a word and I'm not sure if she knows the word or if she remembers the way we practiced it, if it's a word from the list. And why, until she answers the word, I'm kind of nervous, okay, is she going to get it right? And it basically, to me, it's like I am going through that competition, even though she's the one who's facing it. It's like me actually being in the competition for me. So I would say I'm pretty stands, as a parent.
Sure. At Northwestern University, it was phenomenal. It was exciting. People came from all over. They came from West Coast, they came from East Coast, South, North, Midwest, everywhere. And some people have spent over $2,000 to bring their kids, And some of these parents are very, very dedicated for the growth of their children. And brilliant kids. I'm confident the winners, and not only winners, just participating itself is winning. And these are all going to be high achieving kids, I have no doubt about it. And I'm excited to be playing a little bit part in their lives, these high achievers, the future leaders of America.
Yes, it is extremely like a stressful time in general. But how we see it is, because we are volunteers, we try to take it as we try to balance the time, and because both of us get involved as volunteers, we get to spend some time with the kids. But winning is not kind of the ultimate goal. The whole point is to be able to participate in the finals. And we see that in the process, the kids also get involved in volunteering. They help out when they see that the parents are helping out. They also help out in a lot of the activities, and they get to see a lot of the other contests that if they were not, probably they didn't win in the regionals, they get motivated to participate next year and try to go for the nationals. So that way it does help out.
It is it is a lot of hard work. It goes in from the very beginning, it is a months of process, and once you have put down this process, then you execute on that during that final, during that 2-3 days time, and the first time last year when we conducted this final, it was rewarding. The event went very smoothly, and it was and I was not overly concerned about the kids participation part of it. It was more of doing the work that we are supposed to do to make it successful.
Well, for me, I've been to one final with my kid as a parent, and I didn't volunteer there, it was out of station, it was in Arizona, and it was a great opportunity for us to visit Arizona, and it was very exciting for my kid to be participating, you know, at the national level. So it was a big deal, and we thoroughly enjoyed the, you know, the Arizona area. We went to the Phoenix and a couple of other cities. We visited Grand Canyon, and my mom was also here. She was also very excited. She got to see so many places just because of this NSF event.
It is stressful, but you know, I enjoy doing that activity. So I play a dual role here. You know, one is as a parent, helping my children preparing for the contest, and the other side, taking care of these, you know, the activities. And I'm involved in the finals, and I'm a member of the national team too. So from the planning to this event, I'm involved in that, and it is a lot of work, and still I enjoy doing that.
I think the most rewarding thing is to see little children get really excited about things that they're learning a lot from, but also having fun with. So when we were organizing contests, to see little children leave the contest with whatever they got, whether it was a trophy or a medal or a certificate, and just be really happy about it or have fun preparing, and I think that's the most gratifying part.
Wordleberry. W-H-O-R-T-L-E-B-E-R-R-Y. Wordleberry.
That's correct. Next Toastmaster, Tom Yakovich is a great sport. This is the second time he is volunteering. The first time he volunteered for a regional contest, and any time you ask him, he is ready to volunteer. And we were so thankful, Tom, you know, he's a great sport. Thank you very much. Those are your wise words.
Greetings. I was waiting for one of you to ask, where's my teleprompter? I know I'm able to read my speech, but I can't see it. President Bush reads all of his from the teleprompter. Oh, what a great opportunity this is for many of you. I want to comment on one thing. We're all trained early in life to write, and write our speeches and write what we say. And in English class, they always judge us on what we write. But rarely, when I was growing up, did they ever judge me on how I spoke. So we have to learn a new language. That's the verbal language. It involves repetition sometimes. It involves actually repeating a recurring theme over and over again in order to get your message across. When you're reading something, oftentimes you can just stop and go back. I didn't quite understand that. You can read it over again. But when you're listening to someone speak, you don't have that opportunity to stop them and ask them to repeat over again. So the person speaking must take that into consideration and build it into their speech. So they send that message in the beginning. You put in what they call a theme in the very beginning, an extended thesis, I think the English teacher calls it, where you actually state where you're going, what points you're going to hit. You tell the people those points. Many of you did that very well here today, and I appreciate that. And the organization was very evident. Many of you can think well beyond. And what I really liked about here today was the fact that some of you were exceptional on some of the points here. I had to change my thinking. I had to give you extra points in another category to make up for how good you really were. You broke out of the box. You broke out of the thinking. So it really is an honor, and it really is enjoyable to be able to reflect back and see where I was at your age, and then to see how these young people here today are developing, and how they're growing, and how they're learning, and how they're going to teach in the future. So I enjoy this very much. Thanks for the opportunity, and I'll be glad to serve in the future, Prasad.
But one of the big things of the finals is you finally get to see volunteers throughout the country. We have 65 centers throughout the country. Parents, volunteers, national coordinators,
other coordinators, we've never seen them. So finals is actually one avenue where we all get to see each other. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time where we spend with each other. We are all busy holding the contest, but at least that's one venue where we meet each other. But other than that, so finals starts during the regionals, and then just after the regionals have finished, when the hectic activity goes on, I, as again part of the technical coordinator, am part of a team where we decide who goes to the finals.
No, not yet. Okay. Take it. Hello.
Our winner actually never missed a question this entire competition.
I've been participating in NSF, and so far I've done spelling bee, vocabulary bee, essay, I've done brain bee, public speaking.
That is one of the best things that the foundation is doing in bringing this opportunity to kids and students who would otherwise not have the opportunity to pursue their dreams. And that is a very noble effort that the foundation is involved in, and I wish more people as volunteers and as parents also realize that that is something we all share in. We should all contribute to that process and help out.
NSF gives scholarships to all sort of students, whether it may be the elementary school or the higher education. I know NSF distributes scholarships for 7th class, 10th class, intermediate, as well as graduation and post-graduation. Apart from that, they will sponsor some guys for medical education, engineering, architecture. I know in all fields they have their contributions. I really like the basic objectives of NSF. It's like promoting education in India by promoting education here, and that's a great idea. I really like the way the people gets involved in NSF work. I really appreciate their sincerity, commitment, the simplicity, and their effectiveness. And they regularly monitor the progress of the student at the college and how are they performing, and they will come and meet you during your college days, and they'll see how things are going with you. Yeah. The first thing we need to do is to respond for the advertisement that they have given in the local newspapers, or sometimes you can see the posters on your college notice boards, and as soon as you apply them, you will get a call for the interview, fully paid, for both you and your guardian, and the panel consists of 3 to 4 people, and they will analyze how much assistance do you really need, and whether you are fit to be the recipient of the NSF scholarship. After they analyze it, and we will be informed on the same day that whether you receive the scholarship or not, and given the fee, receipt of the fee, you will get the reimbursement for the NSF scholarship.
And that prompted me to set up my own little organization called Padala Charitable Trust in my own district to help my brothers and sisters who are really poor and who are financially challenged. So it's like just like what NSF is doing at the broad level. I'm just trying to pay it forward at my own in my own region to the extent that I can. So that's the kind of giving attitude that I am proud that I have developed with the help of NSF, and that matters a lot. So starting from the day of my sleepless night to today, as I'm working as a software professional in US, it's a big change, and NSF, I mean, I attribute all this success totally to NSF, because without NSF I wouldn't have been here today, and maybe I would have followed my father to become a tailor in my village, and without knowing anything about education, without knowing anything about the world, and maybe without knowing anything about myself. And I'm not alone, and there are thousands and thousands of students who are really bright in India, and especially in rural places, and they need some help, and that is where NSF gets into. That is where NSF picks up the deserving students from, and you know, when you help them, and you kind of helping the whole family, and not only that, it's more than the monetary help. You are inspiring the person, you are inspiring the family to do good things to others, to help others, and to enjoy the joy of giving.
I guess the Indian community in America, I hesitate to say it, I guess, but with some role models, you know, just to see older kids, you know, part of the same organization, it's just like a different level of community. So I think that's, you know, pretty impactful as well.
I could see 10 years from now, this organization will be quite different than what it is today. And so we need to adapt to changing circumstances, both in terms of the volume and the quality and the number of contests. And it's a challenge. It can be done. And if we don't do that, then the organization cannot meet the increasing demands. And we can make it a progressive organization that will benefit the community.
In NSF, it's not just about spelling bee or vocabulary or math. It is the whole experience of trying to get a child involved in academics and try to build on their strengths. So a child, if they are good at something, this is the opportunity to try out where they stand, and even if they don't win in a national contest or in a regional contest, they should be motivated, because they find a group of kids who think like them, they find a group of parents who think like them, and everybody tries to get a better competitive advantage in the whole process. So parents are always trying to find better ways to help their kids, and this is a great way to expose them to other kids who think like them and who value education and who value a good education, and you know where the competition stands. And I would say that all parents should experience this and try the contests that are extremely beneficial for the kids. So if it doesn't happen this year in a short contest, it doesn't matter. Over the long period of time, it builds so much value for the child that it is immeasurable.
It is rewarding, like it is basically motivating. Like you see the people coming in and working in this organization, the way the organization started, and I have seen this organization for last 6-7 years, even before like my kids were like participating in this contest. So I have seen, like I see it like growing fast because it adds so much of value. It has like both the intrinsic and extrinsic value. It helps the kids over here, our kids here, and at the same time, like it also like helps out kids by providing scholarship to kids back in India who are in need. So it's like it kind of like works both the ways. Like it is double rewarding, any way you see it. So you feel good. Ultimately, that is what it is. Like inside you, getting involved with this process. Like as a parent, you help your kid if you get involved with the NSF, and as a volunteer, you are like you get more out of it because you also set an example for your kid. It is a very good example because we need to help each other in this community or in this to live in a community to make it better. And it is right now it is a corporate philosophy, like you go out and help your community, you make it better.
After speaking to the parent volunteers, I realized that there is a sense of common purpose that binds us all together. It was really encouraging to notice that the message that we were reinforcing to our child at home was also being shared by other parents as they were communicating the message of academic excellence to their children. So NSF gave us a common platform for all parents of similar interest to come together.
I think service to me is giving back to the community, and I think as we have learned and heard, without expecting for the rewards. I think service is giving back, and I think it's important for each one of us to inculcate within ourselves and within people around us, the kids and everybody else, to try to give back as much as possible so that the society, the community is richer for the service that they get from everybody. I think that's the place where we want to be, where everybody, instead of wanting more, is in a mode of giving more and actually helping out others. I think that to me is service, because in doing that, in giving more than we take more, we'll find more joy than pleasure. And that's the joy of service that I think we find when we dedicate ourselves to the activities here, and to a lot of volunteers who dedicate themselves trying to help out the contest, the mission of the organization. And it's all service, and I think they find more joy and passion in doing that without expecting what actually they're getting, because that all comes together, and then when the accumulated service helps the organization move forward.